Well, one evening in the South Pacific, a Navy ship spied smoke coming from one of 3 huts on an uncharted island. Upon arriving at the shore, the crew was met by a shipwreck survivor. He said, "I'm so glad you're here. I've been alone on this island for more than 20 years. The captain replied, "If you're all alone, why do I see 3 huts? The survivor answered, "Well, I live in one and I go to church in the other." "And what about the 3rd hut?" asked the captain. The survivor said, "That's where I used to go to church." Today we have the sad fact that there are 40,000 different Christian denominations in the world, and yet Jesus Christ founded one church, the Holy Catholic Church, which is one holy, Catholic, and apostolic. And today we celebrate the birthday of the Catholic Church, the feast day of Pentecost, which is not only the birthday of the church, but it's the baptism of the church and the confirmation of the Catholic Church. And this occurred on Pentecost. The word Pentecost means the 50th day after Passover. And Pentecost was an ancient Jewish festival which commemorated 2 things. The feast day of Pentecost was, of course, always in the spring, 50 days after Passover, and it was a day to thank God for the harvest, for the early harvest of the barley. And so we know that on the feast day of Pentecost, when the Holy Spirit descended upon St. Peter and the apostles, the church itself got a great harvest of 3,000 people were baptized that day. When St. Peter spoke, the Holy Spirit had inspired him, and the church went from having 12 members to the apostles to 120 to 3,000 on Pentecost. So we see the idea of the harvest in the Old Testament, thanking God for the harvest of the grain, and in the New Testament for the harvest of souls, of having 3,000 new members added to the church. But the feast day of Pentecost was also, in the Jewish mind, was to commemorate the giving of the law by God to Moses on Mount Sinai, or as one kid said, Mount Sinai, but it's actually Mount Sinai. And God gave the law to Moses and is commemorated on the Feast of Pentecost. Whereas what does God give us in the New Testament? He gives us the Holy Spirit on another mountain, which we call Mount Zion, which is the city of the living God, the city of Jerusalem. So God gave the law to Moses on Mount Sinai. He gave the Holy Spirit to the church on Mount Zion in Jerusalem. So we see this feast day of Pentecost. And again, it means the 50th day. The word Pent, for example, we get the Pentagon. The Pentagon is only a few miles from here. It's the 5-sided building. The Pentateuch were the first 5 books of the Bible, and Pentecost is the 50th day. And so we have celebrating today the birthday of our church, which is, again, one holy, Catholic, and apostolic. The church is one because we have one founder, Jesus Christ. We have one visible head of the church, our Pope, Pope Leo, the 267th successor of St. Peter, who preached on the very first day of Pentecost. The church has one set of doctrines, one liturgy, one Lord, one faith, one baptism. The church is holy because our founder, Jesus Christ, is holy. He is God. We're not founded by Henry VIII based upon divorce, or Martin Luther for leaving the church. Our church is divinely instituted, founded by Jesus Christ, the Son of God. It's not a man-made religion. It is religion founded by Jesus Christ, the Son of God. So the church is holy, and it gives us means to become holy. The sacraments, the 7 sacraments, are God's channels through which we can become holy. And then the saints are great examples of holiness for us as they intercede for us to help us to become holy as well. Obviously, not all the members of the church are holy. That's what we're striving for, is holiness. So the church itself, as the bride of Christ, is holy, but sadly, members of the church mar the beauty of the church. But the church is one. It is holy because our founder is holy and he gives us the sacraments. And then the church is Catholic, which means it's universal. It exists in every country of the world. It is truly universal. And then the church is apostolic, which means we can trace ourselves back to the apostles. Jesus Christ founded the Catholic Church upon St. Peter, the first pope, upon the early apostles who became bishops, and then the church is apostolic. So we have apostolic succession. When St. Peter died, then Linus was elected, then Cletus, Clement, all the way up to John Paul, Pope Benedict, Pope Francis, and now Pope Leo. The church is apostolic. Our church was not founded in the 1200s or the 1500s or the 1800s. It was founded by Jesus Christ. That's what we're celebrating today on this great feast day of Pentecost. And so I encourage you to realize that this is one of the three great feast days of the church. We have Christmas, celebrating the birth of Christ, Easter, the resurrection of Christ, and now Pentecost, when he sends his Holy Spirit to establish the church. And notice it is the opposite of Babel. In the Old Testament, you had the Tower of Babel where people tried to, reach the heavens, and because of that, they had different languages and there was confusion. Whereas at Pentecost, it's the reversal of Babel. Now you have the apostles preaching, and people from all over the world could understand what they were saying. It was a special outpouring and gift of the Holy Spirit. So what I would recommend today is to ask ourselves, how do we participate in Pentecost? And the answer is through the sacrament of confirmation. Hopefully, if you've not yet been confirmed, please try to get confirmed. Confirmation is the completion of our baptism. Without confirmation, we're not yet fully initiated into the church. It's like two sides of a coin. You have baptism on one side, confirmation on the other. So we want to make sure that we are confirmed. When we're confirmed, this is our participation in Pentecost. That's when we receive an incredible outpouring of the Holy Spirit in our life. So if you've not yet been confirmed, if you're over, let's say, the age of 13 or 14, contact the church. We have classes, special OCIA classes, and then the bishop confirms adults every year at the cathedral, and make sure that we receive the power of the Holy Spirit. What Pentecost was for the church, the confirmation is for us. So again, ask yourself, have you been confirmed? If not, please contact us so we can get you confirmed to receive the completion of your baptism and a special outpouring of the Holy Spirit in your life.